Am I audible properly?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Good afternoon, all of you. I welcome you all on the today's third session on creative thinking to manage stress, behalf of organizing team of EC Engineering Department, BVM College. I would like to welcome today's expert, and I would like to give short introduction of Madam. So Bandna Rai ma'am, who is founder and chief mentor of Ananya Tech Training, Education and Consulting Services. Bandna Rai ma'am brings 45 years of life skill management experience and 22 years of experience in coaching, training, consulting and education management. A social entrepreneur since 2016. She co-founded Green People. It's a brand name, the Goat Village, Bakri Chap, and he has been work and she has been working towards the cause of reverse migration by creating sustainable livelihood opportunities for rural communities. In year 2020, Ananya Tech Training, Education and Consulting Services was founded with an aim to contribute towards emotional and professional growth of different communities in changing times. A postgraduate diploma holder in business administration from Symbiosis, she has worked with reputed brands like Taj Group of Hotels and Amity University and led many people management projects along with her marketing, L&D, CRM, and strategic management roles. Interpersonal relationship management, effective communication skills, motivation, conflict resolutions, work-life balance are few of the key areas of her expertise. Her list of clients includes India Post, ONGC, PGCL, Videocon, DTL, etc. She has also been a marketing and service management teacher and has designed and delivered many PG and UG level courses. Counseling and career guidance has been her most favorite activity in industry, academic, and student engagement roles. She contributed as a lead resource for volunteer recruitment and training of 25,000 plus volunteers for Commonwealth Games 2010. She also trained for the Earn While You Learn program for Ministry of Tourism. We welcome you, ma'am, on this session. Over to you, ma'am.
Thank you. Thank you, Dr. Gansham. It was such a wonderful introduction, and thanks for giving me this platform to share my views on a couple of life skills. Thank you, Dr. Guradia, for getting all of us together on this platform. And I'm sure the sessions are going on a full speed, and there's lots of cross exchange of wisdom and knowledge and skills has been happening. So now this session, as we are sitting in the end of the day, this is the last session of the day, so we will try to make it more of a dialogue. Let's share our experiences, let's understand each other in terms of managing our life. And when I'm saying managing our life, it's more about managing the challenges of our life. So before I begin with the session, I understand that participants are still joining. Please guide me on this, Dr. Gudadia. At the moment, we've got 23 participants. What is the total number of expected participants for this session?
I think it will be around 70, 60, 70, but they will be joining in due course of time.
Okay, all right. I understand that the last session must have got a bit delayed, so that is why. So nevertheless, but in the meantime that others are joining, I would like to ask from each one of you, if a couple of you can just unmute and talk, or you can even share in the chat box. When we're talking of stress management and when we're talking of creativity, when we're talking of creative thinking, what is your expectation from this session? What is the thing that you would like me to talk, or if you have some something which you want to share related to topic, as in what is your expectation, what is your thought, what is your experience, or if you are having some life challenges which you feel that we may address in this session, feel absolutely free to unmute and talk, or you can even write in the chat box. I hope we have the right to all the participants to unmute their audio button.
Yes, yes, we do have
Yeah,
that facility.
we have. All right. So can one of you just unmute and talk about what is your view on what is stress for you? To begin with, let's understand what is stress for you. Before we move to stress management, what causes stress to you? Anybody who would like to talk, or you can even write in the chat box. I'm just opening the chat window for me. So if anybody wants to write, you can very well write there. Some tips to manage stress in office as well as at home in this fast life, fast routine life. All right, how do we manage issues? So Parul, if you don't mind, if you can share what is the key cause of your stress at home or at office? What causes stress to you? What is that one, two odd thing that gets you into a stress situation? It's within you, or it's an external environment, or it's some person, or it's some relationship. To manage parallel work, okay, so how to take our professional and personal life together, how do we balance it out? Wonderful, Parul, we will definitely talk about it. Anyone else has got anything to talk or to share over here with us? how do we how are we looking at stress? And if somebody has used some technique in terms of managing your stress, feel free to share that also. That how you are looking at your life stress and how you have been handling it. Or if you are unable to handle it, you can even talk about that. Anybody would like to unmute and talk about it? Or if you want to write in the chat box, feel totally free to share it there. See, A, it's last session of the day. B, we are done with so much of technical knowledge coming all this while. And C, we don't want to just listen to something which is in form of presentation. As I said earlier, let's make it a dialogue. Let's talk, let's share, let's engage to understand each other. There is no point for me going ahead with a presentation or with the content of this session unless until I understand that what is your expectation from this session? What is that you would like me to cover? Anybody who wants to talk about it or who want to share your views in the chat box, feel absolutely free. One thing is that we need to understand how to balance our work and personal space, how to give the well-deserved time to both the areas of our life, that is personal and professional. Any other thought on stress, or are we all stress free? That's a very unreal situation. That's too much to ask from us. Being without stress is practically not possible. That's a very very hypothetical situation wherein we are out of any stress. Having that kind of space is really very difficult. Anybody who feels over here who doesn't have any stress in life? Anybody over here who thinks that they don't have any stress in life? Anyone? I'm waiting for you to talk before I begin with the session. Anybody would like to talk here, or you'd like to share in the chat box? Dr. Dheeraj Gupta, are you there? Dr. Dheeraj Gupta. Okay, so I think at the moment, as more participants are coming in, there is some kind of block. Yes, Dr. Bhargav, you want to say something?
I think it's difficult for anybody to comment that they are stress free. One or other way, everyone is having little amount of stress, but I guess therefore nobody is speaking.
Yeah.
Yeah, but overall, I think it's as said by someone else that in fast life, one or other way somebody is having some certain amount of stress, and there are different activity which you can do for relieving from the stress, right? So that is
Yes.
one way of getting stress free. So this
True.
is the area, I think, creative thinking, which can divert your stress to. So that's what I think we are all uh, here to learn
I
how creative thinking will divert that stress mind to a creative mind.
Very true, Dr. Bhargav. This is exactly what we are going to talk about, that how our stressed mindset can be converted into a creative mindset, or the other way around. What is the similarity between a stressed mindset and a creative mindset? That the same mental states of stress, of some kind of challenge, of some kind of sadness can be converted into something which is productive, which is new, which can get happiness to us. So with that, allow me to share my presentation. Now, before I share my presentation, there are a couple of things which I would like to share. The medium of the session today I've chosen to be as English, but anywhere that you feel that there is some term or some statement I have given and you're not understanding it because of some kind of language challenge or my way of explaining it or my way of expression, please stop me there and let's come on the same page. Ask me questions, ask me there to clarify more, and then we move ahead. The second thing is that because the platform is Google Meet, while I'm presenting, I won't be able to see the chat box. So if you are finding something which is important to discuss then and there during the presentation, please unmute yourself and talk about it, and then we will move ahead. Otherwise, after every 2-3 slides, I'll keep coming back to the chat window and keep talking about our understanding, our expectation, our relation to the content, whether we are on the same page or not, and then we will move ahead. I'm equally good with Hindi as a language also. So if you want me to cover part of it or the entire presentation in mix of Hindi English, we can even do that. So with that, give me 30 seconds. I'll just share my presentation and we'll begin with it. Now, while the presentation is happening, I have got a couple of puzzles, couple of riddles for you. And all the answers to these puzzles are available on Google. This I'm giving as a disclaimer to begin with. Why I'm giving this disclaimer is that I want to request and I would expect you not to take help from Google. Why not to take help from Google? Because if we go there with a ready-made answer, we won't be able to judge, assess, and rub our creative self, which is what we are trying to achieve out of this session, to get back to our creative self, because I am sure that most of us are under a level of a limit of stress at this point of time. The reasons could be, I can share my reasons of stress. My reasons of stress today, the first and the foremost reason of my life stress is that my parents are growing old. My aging parents, my father had a stroke during pandemic. I have just fought that battle and we have come out successfully, but then still there is a fear of my parents growing old, a fear of my daughter going to hostel, maybe in a couple of months time, once classes start happening. I have never stayed without her. I mean, apart from the days that I was traveling for work, we have always been together. My fear is that a couple of months down the line, is the pandemic going to go off? I have a fear that how many days I'm going to manage my life on reserves. So there are many such fears, similar kind of fears I have seen with my colleagues, with my participants, and with many of my clients during my coaching session. Why I have shared these stresses, that maybe, as Dr. Bhargav just mentioned, that because of certain inhibitions, you're not sharing it, but please come on the page that everybody who's here on this platform today, we all have got some or the other reason to be stressed. So don't feel abnormal, don't feel strange, don't ridicule yourself for the fact that you are stressed. Being stressed is very, very normal. We are stressed, that is why we are moving. That is the other way of looking at it. So don't shy away from sharing your issues, sharing your challenges, sharing the causes of your stress, because once you share it, you'll find that it's very common. It's the same for most of us. Many of us are struggling to identify how to pay fees for the kids. Many of us are struggling to identify how to plan for our insurance next year. Many of us are having some kind of issues with, so many relatives and so many friends coming up with assets and coming up with new brands, coming up with the new, lifestyle, materialistic achievements, which we are not having. Many of us are struggling with the fact that we are unable to write a book in last 3 years, whereas my friend has he has written 3 books. So the causes of stresses are different, but we all have got some or the other stress. So don't feel strange about the fact that you are stressed. Don't feel strange about the fact that the reason of your stress is you're being jealous with your colleagues or with your relatives or with your siblings. This is all very common. So don't question yourself, don't doubt yourself, don't doubt your emotions, don't doubt your goodness because you are stressed because of one of the so-called bad things of life. Don't shy away if you have got some relationship issues. It happens in all the relations. It happens all around, all over us, and nobody has time to sit and judge you. It's only us who are judging us, and that is why we feel so bad about the fact that we are stressed. We feel so bad about the thing that we are unable to manage our relations. It's very common for all of us. So if you all agree with me, at least write agree in the chat box before I start sharing the presentation. If you all agree, then just write agree in the chat box and allow me to go ahead with the presentation. Yeah, Sachin, thank you. Anyone else who's agreeing that whatever I have said makes sense and we all are on the same page? We don't have to ridicule ourselves and ridicule each other. It's all right to be stressed. There is nothing bad about it. We are stressed because we are alive. Until the time we are alive, we will remain stressed. Right? Thank you, Nitin. Thank you, Arjun. So now, with your permission, I will share the presentation and we'll move ahead. So as I said, don't take help of Google and try to respond to all the whatever questions I'm asking by on your own. Don't take help of any such knowledge media like Google, and it will be fun. I'll try to make it as much fun, as light, as engaging as you all want me to, and as much you can support me with. So with this, I come to my presentation. I hope it's visible to everybody. Just write yes in the chat window if it's visible to everybody. Just write yes in the chat box. All right, cool. Thank you, Sachin. So now, in my first slide, you see this 6 eggs lying in a basket. So my question to you is, I'm starting with a puzzle because we are going to talk a lot about creative thinking. We are going to talk about thinking about different types of solution to an existing problem. So the first question here is, I have got this basket full of 6 eggs. In the morning, I have given 1 egg each to my 6 friends. But still there is an egg lying in the basket. How is it possible? So I have a basket with 6 eggs. In the morning, I have given 1 egg each to my 6 friends. But still there is 1 egg lying in the basket. How is it possible? Now, I don't want an answer right now. Don't talk about it. Don't write it in the chat box. Don't take help of Google. Think about it. And we will discuss the answer at the end of the session. So as we all know, the session today is on secret of stress management, and that is creative thinking. Before I move ahead, as expected from all of you, as we have just discussed just now, the learning outcome or the expectation from session today is that to understand stresses, what are different types of stresses and what causes it and how do we manage our stresses. We are going to talk about enable self to identify with the attribute of creative thinker. So once we have understood stress and couple of generic stress management technique, we will see that what are the attributes of a creative mindset and what is the similarity between a creative mindset and a stressed mindset. Then we will look at some of the techniques of creative thinking, and then we'll proceed as in how do we use these techniques for fighting stresses in our life. The last outcome we will achieve by more of question answer. You please share your issues in life, your challenges, as in what are the things. If you don't want to ask direct question, you can ask, by taking help of something which is happening around some relative, some friend. You can ask giving their reference, and then we will sort out those issues by using these techniques of creative thinking. So before I move to the creative thinking, let's first understand what is stress. Now, continuously, we have been referring to stress as something which is very negative, which is full of challenges, which should not be there in life. But actually, if you go to literal meaning of stress, stress is anything or any change that stimulates us and increases our level of alertness. So by definition, by literal meaning of stress, this is something good to have. This is a problem we must have, because unless until we are alert about what is happening around, what is the surrounding calling for, we won't be able to achieve anything in life. And the biggest cause of stress is the negative stress I'm talking about. The biggest cause of negative stress is sense of not achieving something. So here, if you look at literal meaning of stress, it actually tells you, it stimulates you, it gives you a push to increase your level of alertness and hence your productivity. But now we come to the stress that we have been talking about. We have been talking about the negative stress or the drainer. We have been talking about the challenges, the issues, the situations, the experiences, the relations which pulls us down. Whereas stress has got a different part also, and that is the motivator, the positive stress. So I understand that every stress, if you are able to manage it, can be converted into a positive stress, or can be converted into a motivator, or can actually help you to get solution. For example, if you have issues with a person, you are into a relationship stress. There is a psychological stressor that is working continuously. If you are able to understand it, respond to it in beginning of it before it actually gets beyond a point, beyond control, you can always convert that particular cause to communicate with the person, connect with the person, listen to the person, be logical with that person, and improve your relationship. So the same stress, if managed well, if responded well on time, can actually become a motivator than being a drainer. So it's actually not the stressor that is positive or negative. It's our response to the stressor, our way of handling it, our timing of handling is what makes it positive or negative. Okay. And last but not the least, very important for us to understand, there are different types of stressors or different ways of stress that we are handling. The first one is a acute or a occasional stress. So this is a type of stress that is happening once in a while. Like once in a while we got up late and you reach to the office, late. So that is giving you a stress maybe for the moment. The moment you start your day and you're able to manage things, you are out of that stress. So that's happening once in a while. Then there is something as episodic acute, or that stress is happening often. If you are unable to manage your finances and every month, by end of the month, you are looking at some external source for help, you don't know how to take care of your first week of every next month because your entire balance is gone nil, that becomes an episodic acute. It is happening every month, almost every second month you are having some kind of financial concern by the end of the month. So that is episodic acute. And the last stress is chronic. Chronic stress is deep rooted and permanent. This may happen due to some experience in life, as a child, due to some experience when you're growing up, when you have seen somebody behaving in a certain way with you or with others. So that person, that experience or that situation, every time you are getting into that space is giving you stress. You have anger issues, you are unable to express it to others, you are unable to manage. Yes.
Ma'am, there is a question in chat box. Sorry to disturb you.
Yeah, no, no, please, that's great. I will just look at that.
Yeah.
Yeah, so the question comes from Ashish. I have anxiety disorder. I come under stress very easily and frequently. How to overcome this without medication? Ashish, such an apt time to ask this question, and thank you, Dr. Goradia, to come in between and ask me to address this question. Now, Ashish, what I see that your disorder, I won't call it disorder. Anxiety again is I feel that we have given heavy words to our emotions and our responses. Anxiety is just a response or an emotion to a response, or a response to an emotion which you are unable to manage, and in your case it's happening often. So it's not disorder, this is a situation that is happening to you. So first of all, don't judge yourself that you are getting anxious every time and you are doing something wrong. You are into a wrong space. It's something abnormal. So Ashish, the first thing you need to do, I'm not trying to counsel you here, I'm not trying to give you a remedy to it, but I'm just explaining your own situation. I'm trying to explain it to you. This is happening to you, so it's all right to happen. We all get anxious once in a while. The second thing that you have to understand is that what is causing you that anxiety. So now you need to do a root cause. Anxiety here is not the problem. Anxiety is a symptom. You need to identify that situation which is causing you, or those situations which is causing you anxiety. Then you need to understand that situation, that person, that experience as an object. So as an object, how do you handle it? And this does not go only for anxiety. This goes for most of the responses, most of the emotions that we are unable to manage. Having an objective view of it. So what you do, suppose I'm just giving you an example. I can't discuss in detail over here that what are the causes and what are the relations which is causing you anxiety, or what is the life's challenges that is causing you anxiety. You just come out of the situation. So I'm giving you an example. Maybe you have got issues with your parents. Every time that you're going in front of them, or you're trying to get into a conversation, there is some heated out argument, and there is some, the entire thing is messed up, and it comes to a very negative, or not a, or a sad outcome. So what you do, once the situation happens, come out of that situation, look at you and the other person, your parents, as a third person. So now you are not part of in that scene. Your parents are talking to their son. That son is not you. Now look at, the son's perspective only as of now. You start looking at your parents' perspective. You see what is their background, what is their life experience, what is their expectation, what are their insecurities. You see your fears, your insecurities, your experiences. And when you see both of them as a third person, you will be able to understand where the issue is happening, where is the miscommunication. And most of the issues in terms of relationship happens because of miscommunication. Now with this third person's views and understanding, approach them, let them talk, listen to them. By listening to them, you will be able to connect to them. Now once you have connected to them, now they will be in a condition to listen to you. If you feel maybe while listening to them, you understand that what they have been saying is right. And once that thing is done, fine, achieved. If that doesn't happen, then now you are in a better connection, in a better space to share your logic. Be straight, but no, not arrogant. Be it with your parents, your spouse, your family, your bosses, your colleagues, anybody. Once you have connected, listen to them and then try to express with logic. Be stressed, but don't be arrogant. And by getting to this method, you will be able to address the root cause and work on your anxiety. Now, this anxiety could be financial, could be some emotional or some past experience, or maybe some insecurity. But every time you have identified the root cause, you have to have an objective view of the situation. We will discuss couple of anxiety, the causes of anxiety or causes of stress in coming slides. Maybe that will help you to understand it more when you use your creative mindset also. Ashish, for now, I hope it has helped you some way. Or you have any extension to this question, you can. All right, Ashish, we will try to address it more as we move ahead with the session. So now we come back to the presentation. So these are the three types of stressors. Why I have insisted on understanding motivator drainer and these three types of stressors is because unless until we understand the root cause of our stress, we won't be able to address it. Now with that, there are a couple of causes of stress. The stress could be environmental, that we have enough, the pollution, the noise, the traffic. Many people, they don't want to go to office because the way to office is full of traffic, and you spend actually 1.5 to 2 hours just being on road or being in local train or being on the bus, and you hate doing that. So that is environmental. Then the causes could be social, wherein it's because of some relationship, some experience in the past, or because of the peer pressure. Many times we feel that we are having some kind of a lack of resources in life, but actually that is self-created. We are seeing others having those resources, and we are self-challenging ourselves. So that is social stress. Then comes the mental stress, wherein we have got some perception about a situation, about our own self. Many times we feel that we have got anger issues. Many times we feel that we are getting too anxious or we are too sad, whereas actually it's not the situation. So more than judging others, what we do, we start judging our own self. So the principle should be that the way we are not, we are refraining from judging others, the same way we should not judge our own self also. And that will really help us to understand that life is really very simple. It's us who are building on so much of pressure on our own self, in terms of achievement, in terms of relationship, in terms of time management, in terms of professional and personal life balance. It's all self created. Others are happy, they are content, but we want to do more and more. And that is where we are building on a mental pressure, and that causes stress to us. And the last one is physiological. Till a year back, this kind of stress was actually not relevant for me, or it may sound very irrelevant for many of you. But in May, when I saw my, dad having a brain stroke, who is a pillar of our family, who was always a support system, who's always been around for us for any of our needs. And he's 76 years. We did not realize, even if we celebrated his 75th birthday last year, till on 18th of May, unless until he had a brain stroke, we did not realize that he has gone 76. It's been always so healthy, and with stroke came so many things. His blood sugar was too high, he never used to go for checkups. We never insisted, because he would get angry if we asked him to go for a medical checkup. We fought the battle. He's out of it. He was not required to get admitted. We managed everything back at home due to pandemic. But then now today, if you ask me the reason of stress, this physiological, the aging issues, health issues, fear of losing somebody close one, I've seen it so closely that it bothers me now. I get anxious at times thinking about them. If I get a call at 6:30 in the morning from my mom, even if they are just 3 floors above me, I am on first floor, they are on fifth floor. But still, if I get a call at 6:30 in the morning, she called up this morning, she wanted tulsi leaves, and that had got over. So she just called up for that, because they have it empty stomach. I got a call, and within a ring, I picked up the call. And till the time that she completed her dialogue, I was like breathless. I hold my breath that what news is going to come up. So that is the kind of anxiety it gives me now, which was never there till a year back. I never keep my phone on silent now, whereas till last year, I would always keep it on silent or switch it off till 8 o'clock in the morning. So these are the different types of stress, and which is very natural, very common. While I'm talking to you, I know many of you can relate to it, either in context of your somebody in family, or somebody in colleagues, or somebody in neighborhood. But we all can relate to it. But it will start causing us stress only when we are in this situation. So this is either there in our life, or it will come and go, or we have already handled it successfully and it's no more bothering us. But these are the various causes of stress, which is very common. And don't worry if you have these stresses. This is very common, very normal to have this kind of stress. So now we come to a couple of common techniques of managing stress. One technique that is told, that is advised by most of the counselors, most of the coaches, that and most of the life skill trainers, that just go and relax, and that is absolutely all right. Just go relax, go for a vacation, take a nap, just take a walk, just go for a coffee break, so that you are able to manage your stress for some time. Regenerate. If you have come to some kind of a creativity block, or you are unable to get into your project, you don't know how to handle it, how to find a situation, then get into regenerating, get into a new self. Then the other strategy that is told to us is reorganizing. At times, our relationships, our physical space, our financial status, that all gets so messed up, so interlinked with issues, coming up and down, that we need to sit, look at each of the elements of our life and reorganize ourselves. Then rewarding your own self, going for a movie, going for an ice cream break, just going for a good food, just having a day out with your friends or families, or just giving some, buying something for yourself, having some kind of materialistic achievement, or going for a vipassana course. So these are the different types of rewards which you can give to yourself every time that you feel stressed, and you will be able to come out of that stress situation. And then resolving the issue. If it's some relationship or some kind of a team issue which you are unable to handle it, so then resolve it, having an objective view, and then going into connecting, listening, reflecting, being logical, being expressive, and by communication you resolve issues. So these are a couple of strategies which can give you a relief from the stress for the time being. Here what we are talking about is that while you are stressed, you see that all these strategies are asking you to redo something. What I'm trying to talk over here in this session is that while you are stressed, while you are having a stress mindset for whatever cause, there are a couple of attributes of your mindset which is very similar to a creative mindset. Or there are certain concerns of a stress mindset that can be really responded well by a creative mindset. So either the attributes are same, or the responses of a stress mindset can be the attributes of the stress mindset can be responded well by a creative mindset. So either they are similar or they are complementing each other. So now let's look at what is a creative mindset and how they both are similar. I'm just coming back to the window, chat window. If you have any concern, if you feel that we have understood stress and stress management well, we are on the same page, then just write yes in the chat box. Otherwise, if you have any question, you want to unmute and talk, or if you want to, write in the chat box, feel free. Just think about whatever we have discussed as of now, or whatever largely I have spoken as of now. If we are on the same page, or if you want to add something, if you feel that our understanding of stress and stress management is a bit different, there is some difference of opinion, feel free to share with me over here. Or if we are on the same page, just write clear, and then we go ahead with the next part of the presentation. Are we on the same page? Just write clear if we are on the same page. If we all believe that this is what stress is and that is how stress can be managed, just write clear in the chat box so that we can move ahead. Or if you want to unmute and share one of your experiences, clear. Thank you, Parul. Anyone else? Thank you, Ghanshyamji. Anybody else? Are we all clear on the same page in terms of stress, what causes stress, how it is very normal to be stressed, what are the basic stress management techniques? Before I move to the creativity part of it, and we talk that stressed mindset and creative mindset are either similar or they are complementing each other. So no more feedback. All right. So I now come to the next part of the presentation. Now, creativity is nothing but it's our ability to look at the problem and come up with solution or solutions to solve it. Most of the time, a creative person comes out with solutions. So in research paper also, you all are so many researchers sitting out here, so many doctors sitting out here. Every time that we get into research, we look at hypothesis. So we decide that this could be the possible solution, and then we check out the option. And if you understand, most of the time a research paper starts with a motivator, a stress which is motivator. That could be excelling your academic skill, could be an academic challenge that you are unable to find answer to some question, or could be a challenge or a stress to get promoted. So creativity is nothing but looking at problems and identifying solutions. So now, as I discussed, we are going to look at a creative and a stressed mindset, how they are complementing or similar in nature. A stressed person is, a creative mindset is very curious. And stressed mindset is also very curious. A stressed mindset is curious to come out of the stress. They don't know the solution, but they are curious. They want that corner that can give them some relief, can take you out from some stress. So this is a common attribute between a stressed mindset and a creative mindset. A stress mindset is full of problems. It could be financial, emotional, relationship, office politics, anything. And a creative mindset is seeking problem. So it's not that just that creativity can help you in a stress management. It's also that a stress mindset can help you to brush your creative self. You have problem and you want to develop your creative mindset. So give that problem to your creativity. A creative mindset loves challenges. They find it very boring if they are getting good responses. They are getting answers to all the questions. They want challenges. They want to make it difficult. And stress mindset is full of difficulty in life. For them, it's a dead end. That dead end actually is a challenge which creative mindset enjoys. A creative mindset is very optimistic to get the possible answers to the problems in life or whatever problems that they have picked up or whatever challenges they have picked up. Whereas a stress mindset needs to be optimistic. So here, a stress mindset is pessimistic largely, is not getting into any kind of hope, cannot see any ray of hope, and a creative mindset is full of hope. So what you have to do here is that when you are pessimistic, you have to focus on your creative mindset and you will become optimistic. Or you just start enjoying challenges. Automatically, you will become optimistic. Then a creative mindset needs to be non-judgmental, because the moment you start judging your responses, the moment you start judging your resources, your people, your relations, you won't be able to get the probable answers. You will block your roads. Whereas our stress mindset is very, very judgmental. So what you have to do here is replace that judgmental self to a non-judgmental self. At the moment you are judging a given colleague that he is very biased, you are judging your boss that he is full of politics, is not taking care of you, is not giving you opportunity. What you have to do, be non-judgmental about that person. So look at actions. The moment you start looking at action without looking at person, you will start understanding that what is the background of that action. Maybe it's the person's bias, but then you'll start seeing biasness as a problem and not that person as a problem. So the moment you look at bias as a problem, you'll get lots of solution to combat that biases. Why that bias? What is coming as between you and that person? And that will help you to come out of that stress. So from judgmental to non-judgmental, this is the journey of attribute that you need to do in your mindset. Then a stressed mindset is full of imagination. You look at year 2020, March 2020, and we all were having so much of stress just based on the imagination. And I'm not saying that those imaginations, those fears didn't work. Many of us have lost many dear ones. Many of us have lost their jobs. Many of us have got issues with bread and butter. But larger population, 95% of the population has not faced any such problem. But this imagination of the unexpected issues happening in life because of pandemic was there with everybody. We were so much in our imagination. Oh my God, social distancing, we are going to, our relationship is going to get affected. We are not going to enjoy our life. We are going to lose our job. We are going to lose someone. Somebody is coughing, must be infected. So, and today is a situation when we have gone so easy with about it. We are looking at, we are managing the directives and the precautions, but then we are much comfortable now. Still there is fear, but the level has really gone down. And so you can see that stress mindset is full of imagination, and that is so the creative mindset. You have to just convert your responses to that imagination. Here, you are just thinking about that fear. As a creative person, you will start responding to that imagination and come to solutions. And last but not the least, the level of perseverance is very high for a stressed person. Perseverance in terms of not coming out of that stress, being there. That person is bad. I'm going to get hurt. I'm going to have financial issues. I won't be able to earn much. So you have that perseverance, that determination to be in that situation. And a creative mindset is also has got this attribute of perseverance, because you will not give up till the time you get the right solution for a given problem. So these are the couple of attributes which we need to look at, which we need to focus, which we need to address and convert our stress mindset to a creative mindset. Now, when we're talking of creative mindset, there are certain techniques of creativity which we will discuss in detail in coming slides. I'll just come back to the chat box. Any other question, or you have any lack of clarity in terms of one of the attribute that I have spoken, you can ask me. Any questions as of now? Any lack of clarity in terms of the attributes that we have spoken, or we are on the same page? If we are on the same page, just write yes before I move ahead. Attendance link has come. Any lack of clarity in terms of understanding attributes of a stress mindset and a creative mindset? Is there any kind of disconnect? If we are on the same page, let's just write yes in the chat box. Are we on the same page, all 53 of us? Just write yes in the chat box. Anyone? Thank you, Rushi. Thank you, Archana. All right. So now we come to the next part, wherein we'll talk of creative thinking in detail. Before we move ahead to creativity techniques, this term creative thinking was actually introduced by Edward de Bono in the book The Mechanism of Mind, wherein he spoke about exploring ideas and possibilities in a given situation, not just going for one answer, but identifying many right answers and deciding on plan A and plan B, and always keep our backup ready by our creative thinking. So now we look at the creativity technique. There are many techniques you'll come across when you go for creativity, but here largely I'll be talking about 4 techniques. The first of them is reframing, which is the most important one, which I insist for all of us to practice from today onwards. Then is brainstorming, which most of us are aware of it in professional space, but let's start using it in personal space as well. Mind mapping and insight. So to begin with, I start with reframing. As the name suggests, reframing is nothing but changing the frame of a situation. Frame means the perspective of a situation. So I'll give you an example. You may have a childhood picture, a photo frame with your, photo with 4 of your best friends, and that those friends, you all have moved to different part of world, but still you are so connected. You meet up maybe once in 2 years. Maybe you speak once in a month, but there is a connect every time that one is in bad shape, rest 3 are there. So it's a very close bond. But now in this Diwali, when you're having, you're whitewashing your wall and redoing your house, you feel that this photo is too old for this entire new ambience of the house. But then you are connected to it. You can't give away. You can't keep it aside and keep it in the cupboard. You want to see it every morning. So what you do, you change frame of that picture. The moment you have that nice wooden frame going with the theme of the wall of that room, the entire picture starts looking new. It comes so fresh and gives you more happiness every time you look at it. That is what reframing is. Reframing is changing perspective of a situation. Start looking at the situation with a new perspective. Just not, led by your own mindset, but from different mindset. So here you have a cause of stress and you are looking at it from different point of view. Here the perspectives I'm talking about is based on an organizational stress. But to make it more relevant to us, I will give you some perspective about a key cause of stress, which I have, every time that I deal with this topic, I have seen that this is one cause of stress that causes maximum stress, especially in our fraternity. And that is our lack of financial stability. Now we all feel somewhere within, whatever best of the assets we have created, whatever best of the investment we have done, we always feel that we are financially not stable. And it's not just us, most of the population in our country or across the world has got this concern of lack of financial stability, and that causes stress. The entire firefighting is for this fact to get into a financially stable situation. So how do you change your perspective looking at it? The first and the most important is come out of the situation, have a personal perspective. Look at it from your own point of view. which you have been looking. But now your point of view towards this issue is changed. Why? Because you are now trying to find a solution. Look at it from your skill set point of view. That what are your skill sets? Are you good with numbers? Or are you being over ambitious? You are fine with the kind of skill set you have. You are in the right kind of job. So are you getting over ambitious? Get answer to these questions. 50% of the time you will feel that you are over expecting from yourself. If not there, then look at the people's perspective. See if you have some support system in the family. Do you have a spouse who can help you in earning? Do you have people around who can give you ways how to earn more? Can you take another project, talking to your seniors, talking to your superiors? You can get into some other project? Or can you take help of your kids to look at your expenses? Talk it out. Maybe your family, your people around, they're not aware of the kind of stress, the kind of pressure you are taking because of financial issues. Communicate with them, and many times they will come up with wonderful solution. Maybe not themselves, but they may give you some examples, some solution, some suggestions which may help you. Your parents may come up with some ideas that this is how we can support you, or this is what you can do, which I also did at this point of my life when you guys were a child, were children. So this is the people perspective. The other way is looking at potential perspective. We can look at is, are we in the right job? You feel that, the family says that, maybe this is the kind of, ads coming in the newspaper. Your kids say that you make so many, good presentations, you're so good with your content, with your language. Why not you are getting into some kind of content creation? So you look at it, that do you need to look at your skill set, learn some new skill, look at some other career choices, parallel one, or you need to completely move to a new job? What is the additional earning sources you have? So then you start looking at what are the other options available to address it. And we also need to look at it that from planning point of view, that are we really, am I really a good investor? Am I putting in my money in the right place? Do I have knowledge to it? Do I need to do a course on it? Do I need to take help of some consultant? Am I spending wisely? Am I splurging it just to show up, just under peer pressure? Am I being too brand conscious? My family doesn't want it. I'm just trying to satisfy some other ego or some other complex by splurging money on them. Or I'm in some kind of guilt and I'm overspending to come out of that guilt. So when you look at perspective, these are just 4 perspectives I've spoken about. There could be many more perspectives. So when you start looking at perspectives, you will feel that, oh my God, there are many possible solutions, and I was not looking at all of them. Now, while I have shown you this perspective, give yourself maybe 30 to 45 seconds. Think of the current cause of your stress. Or for most of you, you'll find that there is some symptom of stress. And try to identify. Can you look at that issue in a different perspective? Have you looked at that from a different perspective? Just talk to yourself. Just try to identify that. Have you done that? And if you haven't done that, then there could be many more perspectives you can look the same problem with. What is the meaning of that perspective? As I said, is it the financial concern, or it's your ego? It's your over ambition. It's peer pressure that is putting a pressure on you, and it's not financial. You see that, yes, I have planned well for 5 years, 10 years, 15 years. I have had insurance policies. I have invested well for my kids' education. My kids are in good school. I'm staying in a good house. My family looks pretty comfortable in terms of the material that I have given to them. So maybe it's self-created. What does it mean to you? Context, where else could this be useful? Maybe this lack of this financial stability can be used as a motivator to bring some addition in your life in terms of some more research work, some more book writing, maybe getting into a reading habit, maybe identifying a parallel skill and learning it and using it for. So how the context of the same problem can be changed. You can even have a funny side to, adding humor to your challenges is the best way. Just laughing it out, just moving out of the situation, laughing at it, and then coming back to it when you are in the right mindset, looking at the possible solutions, that what these solutions can bring back to me, what all I can do. Instead of just seeing that I am in a situation, start looking at the options, start analyzing them, start experimenting them. So by reframing, you start looking at possible solutions. So instead of just cribbing about the fact that you are in a least paid job, you actually have perspective to the same situation about your financial concern. There is always a silver lining, as I said earlier in the beginning of the session, that all the stressors can work as motivator if they are addressed well in time. They are responded well. We are not reacting to them, we are responding. It's being well thought, and then we are coming up with a solution. So there is always a silver lining in any problem. There is always an opportunity, and you can bring better outcome just by addressing that at the right time. You can look at point of view of, you can talk to your colleagues, as I said, you can talk to your friends, you can talk to your parents, your spouse, your kids. Many times talking to your youngsters, your children, your younger siblings can also add lots of value to your solutions. Like I was very distressed in while the pandemic, because my parents were unwell, and I had to do my coaching sessions, training sessions, which happens during the day, which is spread between 8 o'clock in the morning till 8 o'clock in the evening. And 3-4 times a day I had to visit my parents, for their medicines, for their diet, for the doctor, for a number of things. So then I just spoke to my daughter one day. I was like feeling very weak about it, and I spoke to her. She said, no problem, mama, you just decide your sessions, you let me know a day before. I have my classes going on. She just started her history honors with you, so she also has her online classes. So I will go, for nana nani's walk. I can take them for the walk. I don't have my classes after 3:30. So whenever you have an evening, so now while I'm talking to you all, my parents go at 3:30 for their walk. My daughter has taken them. In the morning also I had a session, so 11 o'clock it was their fruit time. Even if my mom can do it and there is a house help who can do it, but we ensure that we are there, so that at this age, more than giving time, you need to give them that your presence felt. So during their meal time, we try that one of us is there. So she goes at for the fruit time, and she ensures that they are having their fruit properly. She's talking to them. So many times you get, if you look at others' point of view, they can come up with solution. They can support you, and they can help you with a different perspective. Then we have our role models. That could be a fictitious, maybe you have seen in some movie, some one of the characters handling a situation in a given way. So maybe we can try to copy that. Maybe we have listened to our seniors at work, or in our relation, or in our neighborhood, how they handle their life, how a housewife next door is handling her day-to-day life, how she's balancing out. So we can take help from them, we can learn from them, and we can replicate their method at times, even if it's a fact that the same stress can be handled differently by different people. And it must be handled differently, because we all have got different challenges, different issues in life. But we can always get inspired, we can always get inspirations from others' story, others' life experiences. So these are different perspectives which can be used to look at our problems. Now, before I move to rest of the 3 techniques, now because this technique was very important, I would like to take questions over here. If you have some current issue in the life and you are unable to identify how you can use different perspective, you can ask me. If you want to ask a question about any life challenges, any such stressors which you are unable to respond, and you don't know how to apply this reframing technique, or you have applied a reframing technique, you have looked at it from different perspective, and that has given you some solution to come out of that stressor, feel free to share with me here in the chat box, or you can unmute and talk. Anyone? Somebody had asked a question about how to manage between the professional life and the personal life, how to create a balance there. To create a balance, as I said, first thing we need to learn is the accept our reality, what we can do and what we cannot do. So more than understanding and accepting and realizing that what we can do, it's important for us to understand, realize, and accept what we cannot do. So by doing this, anyways, 50% of your pressure is gone. What you cannot do, you cannot do. Just more than accepting it to others, accept to yourself. After that, we need to identify and understand and accept that we can't get it all. So while we are present here and sharing our views on this platform, trying to share our views on this platform, there are many other things which must be happening related to our life, which we cannot be part of it. We can't have tea with our family. We can't sit and we can't call up our parent at this point of time and talk. So to get something, you have to forego something. So if we have chosen to have a professional and personal success in our life, we'll have to let go many things. And last but not the least, we don't have to differentiate in both the lives. We have to integrate it. We have to prioritize, give more attention to a time limit. So if it's 9 to 5, I'm giving more time to my professional life, but I'm not ignoring my personal life. I should not try to ignore, because I can't ignore. Practically it's not possible to ignore, so I should not try to ignore. I should not keep my phone off. I will not take any personal call, and I'm like so adamant that whatever has happened back home, if I had a bad time, if I had a trouble, don't try to come out of it. Don't push yourself to come out of it. If you push yourself, you'll keep thinking about it. So might as well you concentrate more at your work. Automatically that will take a back seat, and you can address it when you go back in the evening. And also the last thing, whatever is your current issue or challenges at work and back home was not the same 2 days back or 2 months back or 2 years back, and will not remain the same 2 days, 2 months, and 2 years down the line. So just take it as a temporary passing phase. Let it go. Let go. Learn to let go. By doing all these things, looking at it as an objective, as a third person's perspective, looking at it just as a passing phase, lots of this self-created pressure can be dealt with. I hope that answers the question that was asked in the beginning of the session, how to manage the work and the personal life. Any other challenge that you're facing? We have spoken so much about stress. Any other stress? Thank you, Parul. Anybody who's facing any other stress in life, which you feel is not, you can't respond from looking at perspective, or you have, let's have a dialogue, let's talk, maybe your experience, your question can help rest of the 44 people who are present here. So try to share. You can either write in the chat box or you can unmute and talk. Anyone? All right. So I understand. So silence means either we are on the same page or we all are on the different page. So for my convenience, my motivation, I will take that we all are on the same page, and that is why there is a silence. At least say yes in the chat box for this, that we are on the same page. If we are on the same page, just write yes in the chat box. Yeah. Thank you. Thank you. Okay. Also, so many yes. So I was right. We are on the same page. So with that, we come to the next technique of creative thinking, and that is brainstorming. We all know, we all are working professionals. We know what is brainstorming. Now, brainstorming, we need to do a bit in a methodical way, wherein we listen to all the ideas coming from everybody with all the pluses and minuses. So the first type of brainstorm is done with team. Your team could be your professional team or your personal team or your social team. So talk to people if there is an issue, like I spoke about financial issue, or there is some relationship issue, or there is some life decision in terms of your job. You don't want to, you have two options. You don't know which one to join, and you want to take suggestion from your friends. So ask them to give their ideas. So now when the brainstorming happens in team, what happens before the idea is born, it actually dies its own death, because there are others talking against it. It's a human tendency that we feel that whatever ideas we are coming up is great, and rest everybody is talking nonsense. So to avoid that, first you should have a silent brainstorming. So give this particular problem of your life or the team's life to everybody. Ask them to think in isolation, to think about what all can be done, what is the possible options. Once everybody has thought about it in their silence, in their with themselves, in isolation, then everybody comes on the same page. You all can come on a common chat box, or you can come physically with together over a cup of coffee, discuss each of the ideas. Now, once all the ideas are discussed, then we can shortlist the common ideas. You'll find that there are many common ideas or similar ideas coming up. So list all those ideas together, and then you can identify plan A and plan B. Start with plan A and keep plan B as a backup. There is one more type of brainstorming you can see here, that is negative brainstorming. So negative brainstorming, instead of looking at solution, you look at that what if I remain in the problem. So suppose there is a relationship issue with someone. So what if I remain here? So I have this issue with my child. So what if I remain here? So the answer will come that I will, maybe it will die its own death. Maybe, it will become normal on its own. But when, I don't know. Maybe I will get distant from my child. Maybe 2 years down the line, anyways, he's going to move out to the hostel. So let it be. Let me live like that. But in 2 months, what will happen? Maybe my health will suffer. Maybe I'll have more bitter experiences. Maybe I'll be more embarrassed. Maybe my relationship will further get spoiled. So that outcome of being in that negative situation will give you enough motivation to look out for solution. So many times we are in a mindset, we are adamant that we don't want to move out of this situation, and what we do, we keep being in that situation. So there you do a negative brainstorming. Keep thinking, encourage your brain to just be in that situation and see what worse will come. So this will happen. My health will suffer, my relationship will suffer, I will get distant, the situation at home, the harmony at home or harmony at office will get affected, my growth will get affected, my child's growth will get affected. So you will get to understand and address so many negative outcomes that will motivate you. There, that stressor will become a motivator, and you'll try to find a solution and come out of it. So that is the second technique of creative thinking. The third one is similar to brainstorming, but a bit different in terms of approach. This is called mind mapping. So in brainstorming, actually you are going linear in terms of writing your steps of the available solutions. In mind mapping, you actually do center to the end of the to the corners of the paper. So maybe you have a problem like your weight is a concern. You want to get into weight loss, you want to reduce your weight, you are very sad, you are very disappointed, nothing is happening, you are leaving your all the meals one day, next day you end up eating a lot. So that is again adding to your weighing scale. So what to do? So one idea is that you go on a diet. So you feel that seeing your current mindset, diet is something you cannot do. You are unable to control your hunger. The other idea is start with a maybe 45 minutes walk. So that looks practically possible because you are a morning person. The third idea is join a gym. That calls for some finance. So maybe you can manage a mediocre gym based on the financial status that you have. Like that, you have 4 or 5 other options. So then you can identify maybe best of two, maybe going for a walk and maybe skipping carbohydrate in your dinner. So that you can identify these 2 ways after doing a mind mapping of all the possible option and start following it. So instead of just sitting and cursing and going in terms of trying something today and not doing it tomorrow and then getting into a new technique tomorrow, by mind mapping you are analyzing available options and identifying what is real for you, what suits you the best, and then you go ahead with that particular option. So that is mind mapping, wherein you are listing all the possible options from center of the page to the corners of the page, edges of the page, and then you find your plan A and plan B or a combination of it. And then the last technique is insight. Now I have this bathtub. Looking at this bathtub, you all are academicians, we all are academicians. What is the word or what is that incident or what is that name that comes to our mind the moment we look at it as a bathtub? Look at it as an educator, look at it as your textbook, which you have read as a child or which you are actually using. If you come from a science background, this bathtub must be very common to you. What is that one term and that one person or that one subject that comes to your mind when you look at this bathtub? Anyone? Just write in the chat box what comes to your mind when you look at this bathtub. Anybody? Any of the science researchers, physics researchers, or Archimedes? Yes, Suganti. Yes. Can we all unmute and clap for Suganti? Deserves a clap. Can we just unmute and clap?
Thank you so much, ma'am. Thank you.
Yeah. So that is Archimedes' principle. It happens that eureka moment in the bathtub, wherein Archimedes was working for years together, spent all his life thinking about this one formula, and it was only while he was taking bath in this bathtub that he understood, he got the final answer, the final outcome. So this is called insight. At times we come across people who have, they say that, this is how it's going to happen. They have the solution for it. And we say that, they are blessed with it. It's not the blessing. It's actually that they have been working hard to find a solution for a given problem for years or months or moments together, and then suddenly everything comes in one picture, in one frame, and they get the answer. And that is called insight. And the more you practice, the more you can develop this insight, which is a very good creative technique. You can look at the problem and you will get the answer to it. And this can happen only by practice, only by giving a thought. So if you have got some kind of chronic stressor and you keep thinking about it from a solution point of view, from different perspective, you will get the insight of that particular problem, and you will be able to respond to that particular stressor next time that it happens to you. So that is called developing your insight, but that calls for lots of action, lots of hard work, lots of thought beforehand. So these were the 4 techniques of creativity. Now, as we are community leaders, because either we are researchers or educators, or we are leading a community in our corporate space or a social space or a personal space, we cannot come out of stress if our surrounding, our environment is full of stressed personalities. So what I am going to share is, because most of us are educator here, I have given an example of how you can help your students to come out of stress, because they also have lots of challenges. They have challenge of uncertainties, how to address the uncertainties, how to get a great job in this gloomy market scenario for coming few years, how to meet up with the expectation of parents, how to fight the competition in the class and after the class. So how do we help them to come out of the stress? One, we have used our creative thinking to help it. So the first thing we need to do is, we don't have to impose our aspirations on others. So maybe when we were at their life age, when we were at their life stage, we had certain other challenges. Maybe we wanted to become professors, or we wanted to become doctors, or we wanted to have 2 houses, but their aspirations are different. Maybe they want to start their own organization, maybe they want to go for a world tour, maybe for them success is building a new concept, getting into a new technology, or maybe for them success is getting into politics. So we have to understand their aspiration, not match with our aspiration. Maybe we want discipline in the class, we want them to come in the classroom, but for them classroom is just a thing to get attendance. So why is it? So until you know what is their aspiration, we cannot guide them whether they are going in the right direction, or how to support them if they are going in the right direction. We can do all of it by giving giving open-ended projects. I'll give you an example. Couple of days, in fact, last month, I was having an orientation program with one of the agriculture universities. Now here, these were all postgrad students, and in 2 days orientation program, I gave them a project of, discussing, making a group with the new buddies and doing a presentation. But I did not give them any topic. Now these were all the students of MBA in agribusiness. But to my surprise, none of them picked up a topic related to agribusiness. So they spoke about drug addiction. They spoke about Indo-China relationship or whatever were the issues happening that time at the border. They spoke about pandemic. They even spoke about the challenges when they, in the mindset when you go from school to your college life. One of the teams spoke about the political changes happening across the globe due to pandemic. So they came up with such wonderful presentations and so much of inflow of knowledge, analysis, and critical thinking in the session. And if I would have given them something from the agribusiness course, it wouldn't have worked the way it worked for them. So we, by giving open-ended project, also actually helps them to get into the creative self and come out of the day-to-day normal generic academic stresses. We need to encourage them to share their knowledge set, come up with the options, welcome new ideas. Welcoming new ideas does not mean that encourage them to do everything wrong. Welcoming new ideas is whatever they are coming up with, tell them that yes, this is doable, but show them, highlight the limitations and give them work plan. That yes, this is a great idea. Starting your own organization after 3 years is a great idea, but you know what you should do? Replace these 3 years with 5 years or maybe 7 years. Work for a few years as an intern, as a volunteer, or as an executive in one of your prospect competitors. Work with them, understand how the business world works, learn the trick of the trade, learn new ideas, see how they are managing technology, see how they are managing market scenario. So you are not saying that's a foolish thing to just start your own company after 3 years, but you are saying that, oh, it's a great idea, you are like wonderful in your thoughts, but these are the limitations. If you start now, these are the challenges you will do. But if you do 3 years down the line, now because you have learned so much about it, you will be able to progress, grow more with a higher speed. So 10 years down the line, you will be at a better place than what you will be otherwise. So highlight their limitations with the work plan. Give them different work groups. The more we deal with relationship, the more we handle the mankind, the more we'll be able to understand perspective, and the more we'll be able to combat our stresses. And the most important thing which we can do as an educator is create interesting classrooms by lots of storytelling, by involving them in class presentations, by getting into quizzes, by ensuring that twice a week we are going to have our classroom with videos on. Let's have some theme for this video on. Let's get into some dress code for this video on. Or let's have an outdoor session. All of us do our class with the outdoor as a background. So give them challenges, give them new ideas to make it interesting. Take their ideas, ask them how they want the class to be conducted. So involve them, again, connect, listen, communicate, and then come on the same page. That is how we can create interesting scenario. Now this slide was largely for educators to the students, but you can use largely all these points for your family, for your relatives, for your social circle also, and create a better living condition, have less of a stress, and have more productive people around. So that was all from my side. Now, before I come to the question answer session, I would like to hear the answer to this question. I had asked in the beginning of the session that there are 6 eggs in the basket. I gave 1 egg to each of my 6 friends. Now there is still 1 egg in the basket. How is it possible? Anybody would like to share the answer in the chat box, or you can just unmute and talk about the answer. How still there is 1 egg in the basket, whereas I have already given all the 6 eggs to 6 different friends? Anybody has the answer? Without
Yes, can I give the answer?
Yes, Dr. Rathod.
Ma'am, you give the eggs to each friends,
Yeah.
and the last egg you can give with the basket.
Wonderful. So now we have to clap for Dr. Ghanshyam. Please unmute and clap. All of us.
Thank you, ma'am.
Please unmute and clap. Don't feel lazy. Don't shy away. Here, he deserves a clap. Wonderful.
Thank you.
Wonderful. Now, I have got another riddle for you, very interesting one. You must have, dealt with it in past also, but don't take help of Google, and we'll do it. But before I go to that, if there are any questions, I'm open to take them because I'm done with my presentation. Before I go to the last riddle of the session, anybody has any question or life issues which you want me to address? Or you have got answers to all the stresses and you are going to practice these creative techniques. Whatever questions, you can either unmute and talk or you can write in the chat box. Anybody? Or if you have some experiences or some feedback for my session, if you want to give me some suggestion as in how I can make it more interactive, I can make it more engaging or more impactful, that is also most welcome. Anyone? No questions? Do we have more questions? No?
Ma'am, I have one question.
Yes.
Ma'am, normally what is happening, we are all dealing with some kind of stress.
Mm-hmm.
And to manage that, or to, you can say, overcome that, we are trying to motivate ourselves
Mm-hmm.
to complete the task.
Yeah.
But what is happening, the motivation doesn't stay long. And what are the key technique you can suggest that we can motivate ourselves to complete the task we want to complete? And regarding motivation factor, I want you to highlight some points.
Okay. So, Dr. Rathore, what I understand that your question is that how to stay motivated for a longer time. So there could be many techniques. There can be an entire session on motivation, how to remain motivated. But I will share one of the tricks which I use for myself. So I will share here about the weight loss journey, which I have seen my sister doing. So she actually, after the baby, she had put on lots of weight and she wanted to come out of it. I don't know whether she wanted or not, because practically I never saw her that willingness to come out of it. She would eat and she'll keep on going, and for 2 days she won't eat again, she would get into going, and suddenly we saw that she has started losing weight, and in 1.5 years she lost around 25 years. And we were all stunned. So one day I said that, what made you stay motivated there in that situation? So she said, I did not do anything. I tried to identify that what is that one thing that will keep me going. What is that one fear or that one possession which I can't let go, or which actually is very important for me. And then she felt that she's a very wise spender. As in, it's not that she doesn't spend, but whatever she spends, she ensures that she's taking value out of that thing. So she said that if I have bought something, I saw that nothing in my house goes unused. So if I have bought something, I always use it. So that trigger I used for as a motivation. So what she did, she bought a mentoring plan on one of the social platforms for 3 months, and she paid. And there she had to pay in advance. So she paid some 10,000 rupees as a mentoring plan, as a weight loss mentoring plan on a social platform. And then she said that that motivation, that every chat that I'm having, every guidance that this person is giving to me, I have actually spent money on that. That sense of deriving value from what I have spent actually kept me pushing on for going on for 3 months. And after 3 months I did not need any mentor, because that had become my habit. That lifestyle had become my habit of managing my meal, eating on time, doing exercise 5 days a week, and that is how I could do it. So you have to identify that one thing which impacts you. That could be a promise made to somebody, that could be a word given to someone, or that could be you seeing yourself at some make a picture in front of you, that this is what I want to achieve by doing this. Have it right in front of you. So there could be many techniques, but end of it, Dr. Rathore, it's all about chicken or egg story. You get outcome and then you start getting motivated, or you stay motivated and then get outcome. But a trick that is generally used for people is that when you write what you're going to achieve out of it, keep it right in front of you every time. So keep it at your desk, keep it in your room, keep it in your washroom, that what you are trying to achieve by doing, by bringing so and so change in your life. So that actually keeps reminding you. Also, I have seen that whatever area that you're working in, listening to people who have already worked and achieved in that area, or who have had a difficult way to reach out to that but similar kind of goal, also helps. So these are certain techniques. Otherwise, in terms of motivation, I feel self motivation is the best motivation. And to make it long lasting, you have to identify that one motivator or that set of motivators that will keep you going. Like my husband stopped smoking after my daughter was born, and when she saw some ad, there is this common ad that comes in the cinema halls, impact of the smokers and how it affects their family. So there's this husband, wife, and the small little girl. So she saw it and she started crying in the picture hall. My husband saw that, and that day and today he never smoked. So there you have to identify that one person, that one promise, that one relationship, or that one, aspiration that is leading you to follow that. I hope that answers your question, Dr. Rathore.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am.
Yeah. So now I come back to the last riddle. We are left with only 5 minutes. And so this was the answer that we got. Now the next riddle is a bridge. Please don't go to Google and try to identify the answer. So there is this bridge in one of the jungles. Now there is this family of four. They go for this jungle safari, and around late afternoon they cross this bridge and go to the other side of the jungle. But the moment they reach the other side, they find it very strange, and there are these zombies there. So they get to know, they could hear these zombies shouting and coming towards them. Now they have to come back to the other side of the jungle and cut this bridge. But there are challenges now. It's coming to it's almost kind of a late evening. It's all dark. They have only 17 minutes to cross this bridge. Now the father will take 5 minutes, mother will take 10 minutes, son has been into NCC camp, so he will take only 1 minute, and daughter will take only 2 minutes. But the challenge here is that the bridge can only hold two people. While crossing, they identified it's very weak, and now while going back, only two people can get on the bridge at one time. And also, you have to carry this lantern, or whoever two or one person, whoever is crossing the bridge, has to have a lantern in hand, and there is just one lantern kept there. If they don't take lantern, anyways they will fall in the river, which is under that bridge. So your concern is how they cross the bridge in 17 minutes, all four of them, with their different speeds. Only two people can get on the bridge, and they have to carry this lantern while crossing the bridge. So your time starts now. You have 2 minutes to solve the answer. I hope the question is clear to everybody. Once you have solved the answer, let me know either in the chat box, or you can unmute and talk. Anyone who solves it, just write in the chat box, or you can just unmute. First son and daughter crosses. Okay, Rajeshri. So 2 minutes gone. After that, so how the lantern is the other side. Rajshri, lantern has to come back here. So who gets how the lantern? Because now father and mother, they don't have lanterns. So what do? Once son and daughter have crossed, 3 minutes, 2 minutes is gone. So now the lantern has to come back this side of the bridge. How it will come back? Mother, father, daughter, son. Kaushal, there can be only two people at a time, and every time that the lantern is gone, the other side, it has to come back also. Try. Think out of the box. 1 more minute for you to think about the answer. 1 more minute. If you want to unmute and discuss, don't want to feeling lazy to write, you can just unmute and tell me the answer. So Arjun says mother with father, so that 10 minutes is gone after that. How the lantern will come back? Mother comes back, so another 10 minutes gone. So 20 minutes gone, zombies will come and they will they will cross the bridge and the entire humanity is in danger. Rushi says mother son is 10 minutes, son daughter father lantern. It's not clear, Rushi, if you want to unmute and talk, but I don't think you are going in the right direction, because mother and son gone already 10 minutes gone. Everybody has to, while they are crossing the bridge, father will not keep the lantern, so mother and son comes, they also need to have lantern in hand, then the lantern needs to come back. Someone has to come back with a lantern. That's the hint I can give to you. Okay, so now because we don't have much time left, I'm coming to the solution of the question. So the first is that the son and daughter will go across the bridge, 2 minutes gone. Then the son will come back with a lantern, 1 minute gone. So now 3 minutes gone. We are left with 14 minutes. Now father and mother go together. They take 10 minutes, and the daughter comes back with a lantern. So that is 2 minutes. So now we are done with 3 plus 10, 13 and plus 2, 15 minutes. Now again, daughter and son, they go back with the lantern, cut the bridge, and zombies remain the other side. So total 17 minutes. Now, apart from the creative answer that this riddle has got, there is some lesson also, a life lesson which we can take from this riddle. One is that even if we have got different type of people around in terms of productivity, in terms of support, in terms of their contribution in our lives, we have to take everybody together, because everybody has some or the other role in our life. The second learning is we don't have to take our juniors, our junior colleagues, junior family members, our next generation granted. We don't have to we don't have to undermine their performance. Here, if you see, the kids actually have done the job of runner, and that is how the family could cross in 17 minutes. We don't have to challenge their contribution. So with these 2 cents, I conclude the session today, and thank you everybody for getting engaged. I understand end of the day, and with such a too much of discussion happening about technology and everything, you all must be too tied up, but I had a great time. Every time I talk of this session, I also get answer of many of my life issues and challenges. Thank you so much, Dr. Guradia and Dr. Ghanshyam, for this opportunity.
So thank you, ma'am. It was really a wonderful session, interactive and informative. We really enjoyed the whole session. So once again, behalf of entire organizing team of EC Department of BVM Engineering College, we thank you very much, ma'am. And we also wish that in future we'll get interact with you once again if you plan out something like this. So
Sure.
thank you once again. And for the participants, tomorrow we'll have 2 sessions. In the morning, 10:30 a.m. The session on IoT, role of IoT in smart city. Then after second session at 1 p.m. So that will be on IoT for Industry 4.0. And after that, we'll have a inaugural, valedictory function followed by. So I request all the participants to for the tomorrow join at the right time. One more announcement that we have already circulated assignment to every participant. So complete the assignment before 10 p.m. today and submit it in a proper timeline. So thank you once again, Banda ma'am, and all the participants.
Thank you, everybody. Have a great evening. Enjoy your tea time. Bye-bye.
Bye, ma'am.